Hello, welcome to this course, Learn Python, a complete course for beginners. In our previous video, you saw how to install Python and run Python code using terminal as well as using the script mode. In the script mode, I used Notepad to write some Python code, then save it as a .py file, and again I used the terminal to execute the program. While using Notepad or similar editors is good since they are lightweight as well as they help you understand how to run the code manually. But as your program gets larger, you might need to test and debug your code. It becomes very difficult, and that's where the IDE comes in. And you might ask, what is an IDE? An IDE, short for Integrated Development Environment, is a software application that provides a range of features for computer programmers to develop software. An IDE normally consists of a source code editor, contains built-in automation tools, provides features for testing and debugging. This can significantly speed up your work. However, the downside is that IDEs can be a little bit complicated to use until you get used to them. There are a lot of IDEs available to develop software using Python. Some of them are like idle, the one which you see here. This gets installed by default when you install Python. If you followed my previous video and installed Python, then idle should be there on your machine as well. Sublime Text, which is a popular code editor that supports many languages including Python. It's fast, highly customizable, and has a huge community behind it. Atom is another IDE which is popular. Spider, which is an open source IDE which is mainly used for scientific development. And Spider comes with the Anaconda distribution as well. The easiest way to get up and running with Spider is by installing Anaconda distribution of Python. Then we have another very well-known IDE which is Visual Studio Code, also known as VS Code, which is a free and open source IDE created by Microsoft, which can be used for Python development as well. That means you can also use IDE Visual Studio Code with various other languages as well. You can add extensions to create a Python development in VS Code as per your needs. It provides features such as intelligent code completion, linting for potential errors, debugging, unit testing, and so on. PyCharm is another IDE for professional developers. It is created by JetBrains, and there are two versions of PyCharm. One is the community edition, which is a free open source version, lightweight, and good for Python and scientific development. Then there is another professional edition, which is a paid version. It is a full-featured IDE with support for web development as well as many important features that you don't find in the community edition. PyCharm provides all major features that a good IDE should provide, like code completion, code inspections, error handling and fixes, debugging, version control system, code refactoring, and all these come out of the box. You need not add any extensions or do any setup. Personally speaking, PyCharm is my favorite IDE for Python development, which I use for my day-to-day use. The only major complaint that I have seen is that it's a bit resource intensive. If you have a computer with a small amount of RAM, usually less than 4 GB or something, then your computer may lag. I would suggest not to go for PyCharm in that case. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install PyCharm, set up the environment and write a simple Hello World program and even run it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to install PyCharm in Windows. For other operating systems, I would suggest you go through the documents on their website. So let us first download the PyCharm installer. To do that, go to the website jetbrains.com, PyCharm and download. This is the page from where you can download PyCharm. You can see there are two versions that are available. But before we go further, let us see what are the system requirements that is required. A 64-bit version of Microsoft Windows 10 or 8 or even 7 with Service Pack 1, a minimum of 4 GB RAM, 8 GB would be recommended, and then 1.5 GB of hard disk space and at least 1 GB for cache. Let's go ahead and download. As I've already told you, it comes with two editions, Professional and Community Edition. I'm going to download the community edition, which is free and open source. This should be sufficient even for web development, just that some features that are available in professional edition are not available in the community edition. You can click on this download button to download the community edition. Automatically the download should start. If it doesn't, you can click on this link and the download will start. Now after completion of the download, run the file. This will start the setup window. There is a start window. Click on next. Here you can specify where you would want to install PyCharm. So I'm going to leave whatever is selected as it is. Click on next. In this window, it will ask if the user wants to create a desktop shortcut. If you want to create a desktop shortcut, you can go ahead and select this. And then you can update the context menu so that in the Windows Explorer you can right click on a particular file and then it appears in the context menu so that you can use it to open. You can select this to create associations with all .py files. So whenever you open a .py file, it will automatically open in PyCharm. And you know what exactly is this? It will add the path that is required. So since we have already done all this, let us not worry. You can select this one. These two might be useful, and then click on go. Now it says what should be the start menu folder. I'll leave it as JetBrains, and once you click on install, it starts installing. After the installation is complete, it will show screens. Before clicking on finish, if you select this option, it will run PyCharm immediately after closing this window. In order to start PyCharm from the start menu, you can click on start, then select JetBrains, and from there you can select PyCharm. Since I already have a professional edition installed on my machine, I'll be using that for all the demos in this video and the coming videos. There should not be much difference between these two in all the features that I'm going to show. If there are any differences, I'll let you know. When you run PyCharm for the first time, some steps are required to complete the installation, customize your instance, and to start working with the IDE. So whenever you start it for the first time, a small dialog appears called complete installation. Here it provides, if you already had a previous installation, it will say that you can import the settings from the previous version, but since yours is a new option, I would suggest you to select do not import any settings and click on OK. Once you do this, PyCharm starts up with a welcome screen. This is how the welcome screen looks like, except that in my case there are quite a lot of projects I have been using. In your case, this section will be empty and you will see these options over here. The first one is create new project, open an existing project or a file, and then you can check out directly from a version control like Jet, Mercurial or Subversion. We'll see all these features later on. Let me now show you how to create a Python project using PyCharm. Now we'll start with create new project. Click on this link. It'll show you various types of projects which it supports. Let us go with the first one, the pure Python option. This is the location where your project files are going to be saved. So this is the project name that I have given. And then the next option is to create a virtual environment. Here it's showing me to use a new virtual environment which it will create specific for this project, or use an existing interpreter which you have already created for an existing project. I would suggest you create a new one. In this case, it's saying that okay, like there's already a virtual environment in that particular path. So I'm going to create it in a different path. So I'm going to use the same tutorial path for creating my virtual environment as well. And I'm going to name it as Learn Python env. And this is the location where the virtual environment will be created. To know what exactly is a virtual environment, you can watch my other video. Now let me go ahead and create it. As soon as you click, it creates a virtual environment, and then PyCharm will be ready for you to start writing your code. So now you can see it's an empty project that it has created. Right click on that and say new Python file. Let me name it as first and then press enter. This is our PyCharm environment where we are going to write the code. On the left hand side You see the project structure where you can see the project and various folders and files that you have been working on with. Now let me write my first line of code in PyCharm. I'm going to say print. As soon as you type print, it shows what exactly you are trying to type, and it also gives what are the parameters that this particular function can accept. You need not type everything completely. From here you can just press tab and it will complete that for you. Now I'm going to say, and that's it. I wrote my first PyCharm project. I'm going to come back, click on this file over here in the project pane, and then say run the file name, the first.py. As soon as I click on that, PyCharm will do everything in the background and it will run it for me. When I say it will do everything, it will pick where the Python exe is. This it picks from the virtual environment that we created. If you see E tutorials and learn Python virtual environment, that is where it created the virtual environment, and under scripts it has the appropriate python.exe from the version that we have selected, and then this is where my file is. It goes ahead and executes. If you see, this is how we executed our file in our previous video using the script mode. Now this file contains only one statement and that statement is executed here. Some of the other things that you can see while using Python is PyCharm helps me in code completion. What does that mean? I'm going to create a couple of variables. My first variable, I'm going to store 20 as a value in that. Create another one. I'm going to store 5 in this one. So if I want to add these two and print the values, it can be done like print and then the first variable. You see here in this list, I already have them here. This is my first variable and then the second variable over here. I can just use the arrow key to go there and select it, or I can just type a few letters and then it will filter it out. If I type S, I get it. I can just press tab and then it fills in for me. In this way, it helps me in completing the code. Instead of typing the entire string, it will automatically do it for me. Now all that I need is, I need not go back to the project pane. Here if you can see on the top right hand side, I have selected the file. The file is automatically selected. It has created a configuration, and then next to that I have option to run. I can just click on this and the script gets executed successfully, and we can see the results here. Another one more important thing that we can see is that there is an option over here which says debug. Debugging is running the code line by line. Thereby we can see what happens when each line gets executed. When I run the code, everything gets completed so fast that I won't know what is happening with each line. So in case of debug, I can do that. So now I'm going to say put a breakpoint here. See, if you see this area, you can click on this, or you can select the line and go to run, and then here you can see this toggle line breakpoint. You can click on that or select the line and press F9. You get a red dot here which says that there is a breakpoint. The program stops here and it waits for your input. So now if I start debugging, you can see we have a debugger console over here. It says it is connected to the debugger, and now from here all I can do is press F10. It goes to the next line, and then it just executed this, and you can see the result over here. Now not just that, if you hover on the variable, you'll actually get a hint of what exactly. Since this line has still not been executed, nothing is shown, but if I execute that and move to the next line, you can see it shows this is the variable that it created and a value has been inserted. Now we just executed this variable and it shows here in the debug console. You can come to the debugger, and here you can see the variables that were there, and this is my variable that got created. And now the second variable, as soon as I execute that, even that gets created. You can see it over here. What is the type? It's of type int, and the value that is stored is 5. Now again, if you press F10, it executes this third line, and after that, since there is nothing, the debugger has come out. If you go back to console, you can also see that, okay, like it has printed by adding these two variables. You can see the value here. Thank you friends, that's it for now. In our next video, I'm going to speak to you about Python basic syntax. If you have not subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel and like our video. It will encourage us to create more videos. Thank you.